It's not looking good for Donald Trump. His health, both his physical and cognitive health, it's rapidly deteriorating. We saw this on full display last night as the ceasefire negotiations utterly failed and Donald Trump essentially refused to get involved in those Islamabad talks, sending J.D. Vance, Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner. Donald Trump instead was hanging out at a UFC fight in Miami along with Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, who you would think would be at a very important negotiation in Islamabad, but significant to Donald Trump's health, physically, cognitively deteriorating. And our observation there too, you had Dana White having to hold Donald Trump's hand as Donald Trump was walking outside. Donald Trump was not getting a lot of applause. It seemed the crowd was going very mild and not really applauding him at all. And you had him wobbling. He really couldn't walk straight. I mean, I'll show you a little bit of this B-roll clip right here, and we can kind of do a little bit of a slow motion as well. And you can see the still images also of Dana White having to hold Donald Trump's hand so that Donald Trump could walk straight. We've been reporting before how Donald Trump really can't walk in straight lines anymore. He zigzags all around. We saw this on full display last August when Putin arrived and Donald Trump was zigzagging on the red carpet. We saw this a few months thereafter when Donald Trump met with Prime Minister Takaishi in Japan. He couldn't walk straight. She had to hold him because he wobbles now. And when he was walking down Air Force One, by the way, when he was going to Miami to go to this UFC fight and essentially ignore the negotiations that were taking place in Pakistan that were an absolute failure. Watch right now. I'll show you the B-roll here. Donald Trump holding on for dear life to the stairs as he's struggling to get down the stairs of Air Force One. And I want you to pay, guys, can we zoom in on those ankles right there? Take a look. Very swollen ankles. The hand also has that bluish kind of color to it. The hand deteriorating. Marks on the neck. And of course, he can't, put forward any type of coherent thought or sentences. What was he saying throughout the day yesterday before he went to UFC? He made up this lie that we were cleaning out the mines in the Strait of Hormuz and that don't worry, everybody, even though Donald Trump said that NATO has let us down and Europe has let us down and all these countries have let us down. He said, we have sent destroyers to the Strait of Hormuz. They're right there, everybody, right now. And they're cleaning up all of the mines. And then he had CENTCOM make a social media post and post a press release that we had 2 naval destroyers going through the Strait of Hormuz while these negotiations were taking place then in Islamabad, Pakistan, saying that we were doing this great mission and restoring safety to the Strait of Hormuz. And it was like, yeah, that was not happening. Like, you just made that up. I mean, delusional. And what's deeply, deeply problematic is that those delusions don't just seep, but they engulf our policies in the Gulf and throughout the entire world, where you have CENTCOM making posts based on Donald Trump's, delusions of destroyers cleaning the mines. What actually happening was far more embarrassing. We sent 2 destroyers to start going into the Strait of Hormuz while these negotiations were taking place in Pakistan. And then Iran said, excuse me, turn around. You don't have permission to be here. And then the United States naval destroyers just turned around. It didn't do an east-west mission in the Strait of Hormuz. It wasn't cleaning out any mines. It got caught by Iran's navy because Iran still has a navy, despite Donald Trump saying we've killed their leaders. They don't have a navy. There's nobody anymore who's even affiliated with Iran. They don't even exist anymore. We've already obliterated them. And we want to know they have leaders. They have a big group of leaders, by the way, and they sent some of their top leaders to Pakistan to make a statement. Most of their leaders are PhD and very well experienced negotiators and diplomats, and the United States States sent Steve Witkoff, some like real estate guy that Donald Trump knew, who for some reasons and like being treated like he's some high level US, person right now. Jared Kushner, why the hell's he involved in anything? Donald Trump's son-in-law and JD Vance. We sent the loser squad. Frankly, this whole regime is the loser squad. But anyway, Donald Trump's like, the Iranian leadership is dead. They don't even exist anymore. Delusions. So he can't really walk down steps. He can't walk in straight lines. Dana White has to hold his hand because he can't walk straight, and then before I still can't get over the fact that the freaking Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, by the way, was at this fight while you had these critical, existential negotiations taking place based on an unlawful and catastrophic war that Donald Trump started with Netanyahu in the Middle East and Iran. You have Marco Rubio, who also looks a little bit off, if you know what I mean. Just take a look at the way Rubio looks, and he's at the UFC. I mean, these people are the most freaking deranged human beings in the world. While there's such suffering here in the United States, and while they've launched this catastrophic war, they're doing this UFC fight and partying. What a bunch of sickos, but literally sickos as well. Here is Donald Trump outside the White House before he took this trip to go watch the UFC fight, where he said, we're sweeping the Strait of Hormuz. You're not sweeping the Strait of Hormuz. That's not true. They lie about everything. It's deranged. Here, play this clip.
We're going to see what happens. We're in very deep negotiations with Iran. We win regardless. We've defeated them militarily. They've dropped a couple of water mines. You call them water mines in the boat. We've defeated all of their water boats too. Their Navy has gone 158 ships. They have 28 water droppers, mine droppers they call them. All of them are sunk. They probably have a couple of mines in the water. We have minesweepers out there. We're sweeping the strait. In addition to that, we're negotiating whether we make a deal or not. Makes no difference to me.
And then Donald Trump was asked by a reporter, but okay, you say that that's happening, but that's not happening. So then Donald Trump just starts yelling at the reporter. How do you know that? How do you know? Because we know that. Because it's a location in the world. There are things called facts that we can actually tell, damn it. We don't all live in your deranged bending of reality world. We live in the real world, not your whatever. Here, play this clip.
Have you read the docs online? Listening to your threats about reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
How do you know that? Why do you say that?
Are they reopening?
Why do you say that? You don't know anything. Who are you with?
NBC News, Philly Circuit.
ABC?
NBC.
Well, let's take news.
Mr. President.
Let me just tell you, we win, no matter what. We've defeated their military. They have no Navy. 158 ships are underwater, undersea. All of their minesweepers and all of their, they call them mine droppers. Can you imagine? A country has 28 mine droppers. You think that's nice? With all of that being said, they're all defeated, by the way. They're all at the bottom of the sea. Now, with all of that, they have no Navy. They have no radar. They have no Air Force. Their leaders are all dead. Khomeini is gone. For many years, he ruled. He's gone. With all of that, let's see what happens. But from my standpoint, I don't care.
And then Donald Trump, by the way, guys, I'll say this, even Fox, even state regime media had to comment, and they're like, so Donald Trump is saying that all the Iranian leaders are dead, but they're actually at the settlement discussions, at the mediation discussions over in Pakistan. So they're not dead. And anyway, moving on. Here, play this clip of what Fox was saying yesterday.
President Trump there about to board Marine One. He'll head to Andrews Air Force Base and then down to Miami for a UFC fight this evening. The president there talking about the war, the progress of the war in Iran. He said their leaders are all dead, but a couple of their leaders are actually in Pakistan right now, meeting with his vice president to talk about some kind of a deal to end the war. We'll see what happens.
I mean, look, you have here just more images of Iran's negotiating team. I mean, they sent a very big team to negotiate, by the way. And mind you, and then Donald Trump all day was he's posting photos of UFC fights. Why are you posting? You're the president of the United States. And it pains me, like deeply pains me for me to say that you're the president of the United States, but you're posting UFC photos. Oh my gosh, there's going to be a UFC freedom fight at the 250th anniversary. No one cares. You know what people care about, you idiot? They care about their health care. They care about being able to afford a home. They care about grocery prices and the prices of things in general. They care about being able to provide a better future for their kids and grandkids. They care about health and stability and normalcy. They care about not having ICE Border Patrol terrorize and torture people. They care about just being able to go about their day with peace of mind and love and empathy without this craziness. That's what they care about. Posting UFC stuff. And then the whole day, I mean, it was post after post after post. I mean, he's posting photos of an arch that he wants to build. Look, everybody, I'm pleased to announce that my administration officially presented the triumphal arch to the planning commission that I appoint all my people to. And then he posts this weird message. Very cool seeing the wave of empty tankers heading to the U.S. to pick up some desperately needed crude for Hormuz starved markets. Very cool, dude. Very cool, man. Yeah, very cool. Who talks like this? You bunch of idiots. What are you They're cool, dude. What do you mean very cool? The markets, the oil markets are impacted by the international markets. So when the Strait of Hormuz is being controlled by Iran the way it is, it impacts crude international prices. Do you know what WTI crude is, Donald? Do you know what Brent crude is, Donald? Do you know the difference between crude and LNG, liquefied natural gas? Do you understand what also is impacted when you have LNG and you have crude being impacted this way? Do you understand the supply shock? Do you understand the fertilizer issues and the helium issues and the other? I mean, do you have any sense of this? Or is it just more important for you to like waddle around at the UFC? He posts random photos of Washington, D.C. Then it's just post after post like the fake news media is crazy or just plain corrupt. Then this is a new message. The fake news media has lost all credibility because they have Trump derangement syndrome. And this is also another new message. The fake news media has also lost all credibility that they had any to begin with. Those are three different messages that they're posting over and over and over again. The fake news media to just be normal. Okay? And why is it that we did not send a single person to Islamabad who has experience with nuclear material and nuclear capabilities? You would think if you were going to be negotiating regarding uranium enrichment, maybe you want to have someone who knows a thing or two about uranium enrichment rather than your son-in-law and Steve Witkoff, some weirdo real estate guy from New York that you know, and J.D. Vance, who's adopted 5 different personalities in his entire life with different names. You know, maybe we want to have experienced people there. Maybe, just maybe, oh my God, I have an idea. Maybe you would have wanted in a normal negotiation to bring on other countries who were once allied with the United States. Oh, I guess they're not allied with the U.S. anymore. Maybe you would have wanted like France or the UK, or you would have wanted the European Union or a NATO representative to be there because you know what? The Strait of Hormuz situation that you caused impacts the entire world. So, you know, a bilateral U.S., Iran, Pakistan conversation is one of the weirdest dynamics also to begin with. And also when you post that you agree to Iran's 10-point negotiating framework and you post it publicly, and then you say, oh, it's maybe the fact that Iran, they don't speak English well. So maybe they were mistaken when I agreed to their 10-point negotiating framework. Here's the deal. You agreed to their framework. You posted it publicly. I agreed to their negotiating framework and we'll negotiate within that. So when you showed up in Pakistan and you said, what 10-point framework? I don't know what you never even knew about a 10-point framework. It's deranged. It's unhinged. America has lost all credibility for generations as a result of your despicableness, and we watch you rot. We watch you deteriorate before our very eyes. Anyway, everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
New Midas merch. Head to store.MeidasTouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.